Hi guys, Virginia here, and I'm back with another project for the Kitaholic Kits design team. This is using the March kits, and I was just showing you the photos, the two little black and white pictures of Eddie dressing up in my clothes. I had been going through my wardrobe and she found this dress that she loved, and I was originally going to do it in colour because the dress has lots of blues and purples, as you can see to the right of the screen, but the blue was a bit too light, so I decided to take two of them and crop them down a bit smaller and make them black and white. Right, so I'm going through the 12 by 12 papers that are in all the kits and decided on this one. It's a really lovely kind of bokeh background and got a really soft floral print on it, and that kind of reminded me of the dress, and the black and white in the photos kind of lends itself to be quite vintage inspired, I guess, and so I thought it would go well with this paper. So as not to overwhelm the background, I trimmed it down a bit and took away that darker portion of it, and this gives me a bit of white space, kind of calms the layout down a bit, and it kind of gives me a spot to embellish and things like that. So I'm looking for some papers to mat my photos on, so I'm going to go with these the purples, soft pinks that's in the background paper, but I'm going to bring in a little bit of that dark blue as well. So I'm just adhering my photos together, and my first mat is going to be this lovely dark blue with the rose gold foiling on it from the 6x6 papers. So I'm just adhering my photos down, and then I will trim that off, and I'm going to leave a bit of paper to the right of the photos, and that's kind of form a place to add some bits and pieces along the way. Right, so my second layer is going to be this lovely floral print, and this is why I decided to bring in a bit of blue, because there's a bit of that dusty blue purpley colour in those flowers. So just trimming that down, and I've left a large bit of that so that you could see it. And now I'm going to use this pink with the rose gold foiling, and I'm just going to trim that down. Just taking a bit off the top. And then that'll be my third layer. Just peeking out so you can see bits of it, and then I would adhere them down. Just sticking that blue piece down first, and then I will do this large floral, adhere that on, and then I'm going to use the offcut of that background paper, and that brings in a bit of the darker purple that's in that floral print into the background, and that will be my final paper layer once I've trimmed that down. Yep, liking that. So I'll adhere that all together, and that's all my photo paper layers done. Rightio. Okay, so to bring in a bit of softness and texture, I thought I'd bring in a doily. This is just for my stash. I'm going to trim it in half because I don't want to cover over all of that floral print. I do end up trimming it down a little bit more because it's sticking out a bit too much, but that comes up in a minute. I did contemplate putting it to the side and having it like this, but the direction of the flowers, and it just felt like the darker colour of the base of those flowers should be down the bottom. It gives it a bit more weight in the bottom. So I grabbed the other half of that doily, and I thought I would include that as well. Might as well not waste it, and just put it down the bottom. That brings a bit of that texture down to the base of the photos, and there we go. I've just trimmed down that other half. Right, so now I'm going to look for things to basically embellish. So I've got this little 6x6 cut apart. There were a few little pieces on here that I liked that coordinated with those papers that I had chosen. So I cut off one square one. It's got a lovely soft pink floral behind it. It says it's the little things in life, and then this one that says you are so loved. I ended up, it was a square, I cut it into a circular piece, just to make it a bit different. Right, everything was quite harsh on the edges, and I thought I had an idea to kind of soften it up. You can't really see it in video, you can kind of see it in the photos, but in real life you can see it a lot better. I've grabbed some Versa Magic Cloud White. It's a multi-surface chalk ink pad. And what I'm doing, it's white, so I'm rubbing it along the edges of that background paper and my paper layers, and then I'm just kind of rubbing it out, smoothing it out with my fingers, and it's giving like a really soft edge to those papers. So it's kind of lightening everything up and just making those lines not so harsh, if that makes sense. Rightio, so I'm going to continue to find some embellishments. I pulled some little tags off the 6x6 cut apart sheets. They're not really cut apart, they're pull aparts. And I've got a purple one that says be your own kind of beautiful, and another one that's just a floral print that coordinates with that floral on one of my photo layers. And again, I've rubbed the chalk ink pad around the edges of them just to soften them up. Right, so now I'm going through the ephemera pack for the Kaisercraft Misty Mountains and just pulling up bits that coordinate that I think I may use, and again in the purples and the pinks, and a little touch of blue as well will get put in there. And then I will go through the 2 ephemera packs. I've got them all mixed together, and these are a lot of labels and stuff. These are the exclusive ones from the Kitaholic Kits. So I'm thinking about a journaling spot, possibly as base for my date, and maybe something else, some words and stuff. Okay, I'm just fussing with these doilies. Radio, so I'm going to start trying to find a home for everything now. So I paste that cut apart down there. And I'm just going to pop the little inside bit out of the hold of that tag. And this one is from the ephemera pack that You Are Blessed. So I've popped that up there, and then I've put that circular piece that I've cut out down the bottom just to make 3 kind of clusters to drag your eye around the page. That floral tag gets put there, a purple tag up there, just to bring a bit of colour and make my clusters a bit larger. And this blue journaling spot ends up getting layered on there. And this kind of a pink and purple ombre kind of one just gets put down there. I'm not going to write anything on it or stamp anything on it. It's just basically for a bit of colour down there, and to help me create a larger cluster, really. I've got a few hearts from those pull apart sheets. I've got a pink one and a blue one, so they'll get put on the page. I'm cutting things at the moment. That was one of the hearts from, there was a row of hearts from the Kaisercraft ephemera pack, and this one had white around it, and I decided to just trim it so that it was just a pink heart. And then we've got a little purple banner that says just perfect, so I've popped that up there. And I'm just sorting through bits. We've got one for my date, so that's going to get layered up there. And I just tuck it into the photo. And still just looking through the bits that I've pulled out. A little butterfly. I've bent the wings up to give it a bit of dimension. So a pink one up there and another smaller one, like a peachy orangey colour, down the bottom. Rightio, so I've got these wood veneer pieces, the words and titles and stuff, and I didn't want to bring in like a wood grain colour per se, so what I'm doing is I'm just smushing it into that white ink pad, and that gives it kind of a whitewash effect. It's still kind of a woody colour, but it's whited it out enough so that it's not too woody because I'm not going to be placing any other wood elements on the page. So I've just put that up the top to dry, and now I'm liking how things are looking, so I'm going to adhere everything together. And of course my ATG gun tore my doily, so I had to cut up another one to place in there. And then I'm just going to go about adhering things down. I did prop up my whole photo layers on some fun foam, and that just gives a bit of dimension and casts lovely little shadows over the page. And then I'm just going to continue to work at gluing everything down. I don't make you watch it, just put on little spots of it. A doily down the bottom corner, just because I felt like that cluster down there needed something to kind of ground it, so the doily was a solution for that. And I'm just going to continue to work at layering these pieces down there, and there we go, all done, all glued together. And I have just put some twine in those two tags, and that just brings like a natural texture and fibre and colour onto the page. There's my little wood grain piece that's dry, so I'm going to glue that down and just tuck it down there. Felt like a good home for it. And a couple of these word stickers. Now there was a long one that says these are the best memories to make, and I liked it. I tried it around the page as a whole, but felt like it was too long to kind of fit anywhere comfortably. So what I ended up doing is just snipping it apart and kind of stacking those words in that space there, and that was a good solution to fill up that spot there. But I do end up initially putting it down too close to the top of that tag, and there's an empty space below it, and that looks awkward, so I do end up moving it down a little bit shortly. Here we go. So I wanted to kind of bring it down and spread it out so it fills that space comfortably, and it's not an awkward spot on the page. Here we go. So they spread out a little bit more, on a bit of an angle, but it fills it. There you go, thumbs up. Okay, some of these Studio Calico little pink words, bring in some more pink on the page. So I pull off this one that says something beautiful, and I end up layering it under my journaling. There we go. And I pull off another one that says I love you, and another one that says memories, and that's the memories one. I just put it down there in that cluster. And the I love you, when I find it, the fly was annoying me, I end up putting it down to the left of that tag. There we go. Rightio. So I'm going to do my title. It's going to be simple, happy heart. I did contemplate using those Cocoa Vanilla ones, the charcoal blacky grey ones, but there was none of that other colour on the page, so to me it wasn't working. So I chose the Kaisercraft ivory stickers, and they were small and petite and kind of felt like they would fit well. So I just pop it down by that third cluster down the bottom, and that's done. Yeah, it kind of feels at home down there. And I will put on a few little of those Kaisercraft pearls, the little purple ones, just a couple in each cluster, just to bring some little bits of pops of colour and interest onto the page. And a couple up there, they're tiny, really hard to pick off the sheet, those little ones. There we go. So I've got that down, and I'm looking at it. Needs a little something else. So I decided to bring in some of that Colour Blast Colour Shimmer Spray, and I used the blush and just put a few. I'm not going to put a lot like I normally would with my gold. It's just for a little bit of colour. A few sprinklings of that around each of those clusters, and then after that it's done. So I hope you enjoy the process, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.